Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio everybody. What is going on? It is Galeriot here, and welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi Memoria Chronicle video. And today we are here for the anniversary tier list update. Yes, it's finally here. I know you guys have been waiting for nearly a week for this one, but I've been super busy with moving out, and along with that, I wanted to take my time and actually test out not only the new units, but I'm also working on actually running through and figuring out what I feel about the older units as well, because in this tier list update we're not only going to be updating the adventure assistant scene card tier list with the brand new adventure assistant scene cards from the anniversary. No, I'm actually going to be also changing some of the positions of the older units as well, because I feel some of them have to go down and some of them have to go up. So of course, if you guys going to enjoy today's video, please be sure to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel for more content, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below regarding this tier list. Do you guys agree with me, disagree with me? I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down below. But without further ado, let's get into it, and let's start off with the adventure side of things. And of course, the new adventure that we have in the anniversary update is the very first Fest unit in the form of Belle. And honestly, based on my personal experience and my personal usage of this dude, I think he's an easy SS character, or SSS character, to be quite honest. I genuinely believe with the technique cooldown and everything, I think he is absolutely worth it. Now, keep in mind when I do these tier lists, right, I'm talking about them in their best case scenario that a player can get to. So, of course, for the likes of Earth Belle, it's A3. For Artemis, A1. Christmas Eyes, A1. Belle, A2. Wind Belle, that is the new Fest Belle, is A2. Water Belle, A2, Water Lafia, A1, and so on and so forth. I just want to try and obviously not go all too crazy and go A5 or just go very bare bones with A0, because that'll be really unfair for some units and really beneficial for other units, right? And so what I'm going for is basically I'm going for what is their best point, how valuable is it first and foremost, as well as how good is it, and then along with that I'm of course talking about generally what I think about them as a unit. And of course, Fest Belle at A2 onwards is an absolute beast of a unit. With the amount of technique and special move cooldown he has, it is really impressive, and people tend to forget that how important cooldown is. In my opinion, I think cooldown is probably the strongest tech you can have on a character. It's probably one of the strongest skills to have on a character, and to be honest, with Belle having it in spades, I think he deserves to be triple S. Earth Belle is also somebody who has that as well under his kit basically, and under his armor effectively, but that's the reason why he's up there, along with the mobility he has and everything. He's just that good. So Fest Belle, in all honesty, triple S. And I mean, of course, you can see that Wind Ryu is up here, Wind Eyes is still up there in double S. I'm not discounting them whatsoever. They still remain there. I'm not going to be changing their positions at all, because they're still so good as wind units. I genuinely believe that they're still very strong. So I'm going to keep them there for now, and I'm not going to adjust their positions at all. Now, along with that, what I'm going to do is drop the positions of two characters. One, I'm going to have to drop the position of Eyes. Christmas Eyes has had her time. I will say this. She's definitely had her time. She's still very good, but I genuinely believe that the other unit that I'm going to be pushing up has effectively matched her, in other ways, basically, to give them a sort of like a dual approach effectively for the fire typing. One plays a certain way, the other plays a different way. And I honestly do believe the other unit, even though she may not have the tech that I talk about with Eyes and Wind Belle and so on and so forth, she has the raw power to back it up. So I have to admit that that is there with this unit that we're going to be talking about in just a moment. The other unit I'm going to be bringing down really quickly before we carry on is going to be Speed Tione. I really like Speed Tione, but I don't know if she's worth of that double S tier necessarily. I think she's still a very solid unit to have, and very similar to Earth Haruhime, a nice support unit to have on the team. But I generally do believe that you're better off running other supports and other units instead of Tione. Tione can still hold her own. If you build her towards a more of an offensive build as well, she'll be pretty decent. But I just think that in terms of the ideal team composition with wind units and everything thrown into the mix, right, I think there are better options. So Wintione, unfortunately, as a result of just Festibel's release and everything that's going on, I think gets a bit of a drop, unfortunately, because of that. So that is the drops so far. I might come back to this and, talk about some more drops, but I want to talk about the ups now. Philvis goes up a tier. I was a little bit harsh when I made my tier list last time around with Philvis, right? I think that was literally the last time we did the tier list, actually, was with Philvis's release, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the adventure side at least, right? And so for me, I was a little bit harsh on Philvis, I will admit. I felt like she was a little bit inferior to Atarl, and that was enough of a gap to put her in S. But in retrospect, I feel like I was being a bit harsh here once again, and knowing what she's capable of doing at higher awakenings with the technique cooldown and everything, I think she deserves to be in double S. I do think she deserves to be in double S. Very much goes blow for blow with Otarl, which is quite funny to say considering all things said and done. But no, I really think she's a very solid unit to have as well as a water tank unit. She can be a little bit more offensive as well, which is super, super nice for a tank unit. Because one of the things I have an issue with in any gacha game when it comes to tank units is they don't really do much outside of tanking. And as a result of that, they kind of get thrown into the dumps for some reason or another, right? Whereas I feel like Dankro with the latest tank units with the Tarl and Philvis, well, I say latest, Welf still exists and he's down here in A rank, but with Otarl and Philvis at least, and hopefully future defense units, they give them a little bit more of a tech and ability, basically something that'll help support the team or support themselves in any way, shape, or form. So Philvis goes up a tier, and then the other unit I was talking about, of course, that kind of goes par for par with Ice, Anya. I genuinely think Anya really deserves also to be in the double S tier. And I know I'm bloating the double S tier quite a bit up, but I genuinely think that these units are capable of holding their own in a lot of the top content. And that's why I'm putting them in double S. And this is, again, an indication, more so than anything else, of how the power creep has been in Dankro, to be quite honest. More so than anything else. Because if non-time limited units like Chloe, who I'm also going to be putting in double S, Lenore, I'm a little bit uncertain on still. I feel like she's very hit or miss in terms of her abilities and everything, but I genuinely think that, with the Dankro power creep, I think they're generally somewhat afraid right now. I think ever since Earthbell's release, I think they realized they kind of went a bit overboard because everything else has been a little less saucy in some way, shape, or form, Extra Bell had that sauce on him. And then after that, they've kind of gone a bit neutral. They've gone a little bit plain with some of the kits, to be quite honest. But nonetheless, the kits have been holding strong enough in current form content to the point where there's no complaints, realistically speaking, I mean, comparing Festbell to, OG Eyes or Wedding Ryu, and they're still very, very strong, right? So it is very impressive in that sense, of course, right? And I cannot wait to see how they progress from there as well. Along with that, I'm going to have to push Golden Time Bell to double S. Of course, with the recent release of the Fest Bell, and of course, obviously with the release of the Fest Eyes as well, burning units has been never has been so important, right? It's never been so important. And so for me, with Golden Time Bell and his capabilities of special move cooldown and everything and all that sort of good stuff that he has going for him, I think he deserves to be in double S, in all honesty, just because of his supportability to the rest of the team with that burn capabilities. I generally do believe that to be the case. Now, I'm gonna wait before we do the final updates for the buffed units, in particular, of course, Ryu and Hermes, when we come to the assist side, purely because we don't have those buffs in-game right now, so I can't really say much on that front. I will also be pushing up Asvi to S as well. I think, I kind of underrated her massively over the time. And then, of course, we've seen how she performs in raids. And she goes insane, man. She is absolutely insane in raids. Even at lower awakening levels when we've taken an Asvi in, she's done well. She's done really, really well, even with type disadvantage and stuff. Because all she needs to do is apply those debuffs and she can go off. She can help the team out so much. So, for me, Asvi goes into S. But this, in my opinion, is probably the current adventure tier list I would put across to you guys. Yeah, I think I'm very happy with it. I'm having a look once again, just having a gander and seeing if I'm missing out on anything or, something that's kind of odd to me. But I generally think that this is probably the tier list I would provide to you guys and say I 100% back it no matter what. Of course, if there are any suggestions otherwise, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. Like I said, Ryu will probably get bumped up, but I just need to get an idea on what she's capable of doing when we do get her buffs in game. That is to say, win Ryu, that is, of course, right? So we'll have to wait and see, of course, on that front. Now, we will move on to the assist side. Our scene cards will come back to later on. Assists now. Let's talk about the assist side of things. Now, assists are very intriguing because I think Eyes immediately places herself into the top tier upper echelons, of course, able to provide a shield, crowd control, deals damage, a decent amount of damage, and also has skill damage boost as well on her A1. Like, come on, she's doing a lot here. And this is again the same thing I said with units like Freya and stuff, where they do a lot, right? They're units that are doing a lot. And so for me, she deserves to be there. Now, a unit that's unfortunately gonna get a kind of a dump down is gonna be Seer, sadly. I generally think Seer is getting a dump down purely because I feel like now in the game, if you take a look at a lot of the scene cards we're getting, and also the stats we're getting from said scene cards and battle items as well, we're getting too much crit rate. We're getting way too much crit rate, you could say. Like the latest scene card that we've gotten from the anniversary gives 1,000 dexterity. 1,000 dexterity is ridiculous, you know what I mean? So for me personally, I think it's you know, something that we're gonna have to keep in mind, that, you know, some older units that were providing crit rate are going to suffer because of it. Now with Seer, that was her whole motif. It was all about giving that crit rate. Whereas with the unit like Lafia, who did give crit rate, she also does a lot of other things as well. She's got good strength and magic stats on A1 and on her skill 1 and or passive skill 1 and passive skill 2. Jesus, I struggle there. And then she also deals a strong attack on her assist skill as well, which again makes her a very powerful unit to have as well. So for me, I think that makes sense. Outside of that, I would say realistically, actually, there's not many more changes I would like to make here necessarily. Arguably, she'll go down maybe as well. I mean, we need to wait for a buff for her, but I think she might go down a tier. The A tier is still a tier that you can use, by the way. There's no doubt about it. The A tier is still a tier you can use, by the way. I don't know why Loki's down there, by the way. She should be here because she's identical to Ishtar, to be honest. I guess it's the speed. No, I mean, yeah, no. Loki deserves to be there. Let Loki be there. Let Loki be there. Sorry, I don't know why Loki was there. I got very confused. So, but I think the thing is, A tier is not an unusable tier, but it's a tier that definitely needs a little bit of help here and there to basically push him up to the S tier, the upper echelons, for sure. The rest, yeah, no, nothing else to add, to be honest. And yes, you saw that, right? Summer Riveria is in the D ranks. She is, she's just, no, absolutely not. So there you have it. That's the assist tier list. Very straightforward. Not many changes, actually, to be honest. Only minor changes here and there. Overall, very solid. Very, very solid nonetheless, to be honest. Very, very solid. Okay, assist tier list side of things. And now, first thing I'm going to do is drop Wicked Grin to S and put this one in SS. Now, the reason for that is basically they're the identical scene card in terms of the passive skills, you could say, right? Both give action skill cooldown, 100%, and also action skill damage for 30 seconds by 30%, right? The thing is, right, the stats on the anniversary one is through the roof. It is unbelievably strong. It is so good that it deserves to be an S. It deserves to be an S. Now, I wouldn't put it in use memory crystals, to be quite honest, but it is close. It is very, very close. I think the stats alone, 230 strength, 1,000 dexterity nearly. Like, come on. It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. So, yeah, I think it's got to be up there. Diva Harmonia will go A+. 100%. I'm putting it alongside Rabbit of Plenty because they're very identical scene cards, to be honest. Slight differences in stats, and of course, technically they give the strength too, but the strength stat is the same. 44% strength, 2 wind damage units with Diva Harmonia, attack roll units with Rabbit of Plenty. You could argue Rabbit of Plenty is a little bit better in that sense because of course strength you want to ideally give to attacker roll units, but at the same time the wind one you could give to like Otaro, who could take that strength as well and use it to his advantage as well. Same thing with speed units as well. So there's pros and cons for both, right? There's pros and cons for both. So for me, that is the thing. That is the case there. Honestly, outside of that, scene cards wise, I don't think I want to make any changes necessarily, to be quite honest. Actually, no. there's one scene card that'll go up, and that's that one. And the only reason for that is because of the brand new battle item, the Dark Eye. Honestly, that battle item has actually made this scene card somewhat worth it, purely because it reduces your HP down to 1 HP. And of course, this thing only procs when you're under 30% HP, which you will be thanks to the battle item. So you know what? Credit where it's due, they actually nailed it. You know what? They've actually made the scene card somewhat usable, I suppose. But honestly, outside of that, I don't really have any further changes to push for. Of course, we've acknowledged the changes they've made too, and of course, the introduction of the extra scene card copies for the summer banner and stuff, right? And all that sort of stuff, right? I actually should also... I would add the CP scene cards and stuff. I don't think I've added them in this tier list, right? Let me have a look-see. No, I haven't added the CP and Valus scene cards in this, the Vistoria scene cards and the scene card that we got for the Discord campaign winner, right? I've not included those in this tier list purely because of the fact, and you might be wondering why, I've not included them in this tier list because honestly, they'll probably just end up being an A+ or A, and they'll just stay there. They're good stat sticks basically, but their main aim is to just help you grind effectively. So I'm not including them in this tier list. This tier list is exclusively for scene cards that are effectively here to help benefit you as the player in terms of giving you a lot more, allows you to deal most damage, what allows you to get through the game a little bit better, and so on and so forth. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down below. I didn't want this to be too long of a tier list video, and of course there's no JP tier list, so we don't have to go and look at anything else. Let me know if you guys agree with me and disagree with me. Of course, once again, if you guys want to pause the video at any time to have a look through anything, of course, feel free to do so. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, guys, take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.